Okay, shit. I'm sorry. I'm so late. Been a lot going on here. So, anyway, I'm testing to see if the YouTube records the sound, and we might talk about some stuff if anybody wants to join. So, um, anyway, hey Debbie and Sentinel in the chat. Okay, all right. Mute for a minute. Here in a minute.
I was muted.
Oh, I was muted too. I was talking. They're going to be grinding an axe or something here in a minute. I don't know why. He does shit weird as fucking time. Anyway, good. It sounds good. She said it sounds good. So let's see if the YouTube plays it back when we're done here in a bit. So, what's going on? Hello? Are you there?
I am here.
Okay. Anyway. Okay. I don't know what's going on here. There ain't no fucking telling. I shared this earlier, but I just reshared it because I'm
Okay.
hour and 15 minutes late, something like that. So, anyway. Okay. Clicking. Okay.
Here, let me share your thing here.
I really don't know what the hell they're doing in there. Fuck. Sounds like a drill or something. Yeah, it's a drill. Okay. Cool. Thank you, Debbie. Yeah, I haven't been on this channel in a while, so probably won't get many viewers anyway. So that's maybe good. But anybody wants to join, just for the heck of it, I'll put the link in the YouTube. Being brave here tonight.
No, you're muted.
I know.
Oh, okay. It was on purpose.
Yeah, I know. Because of that drill. Can you hear the drill? What is he doing?
Oh, he's letting that drill battery run down. So it's going to be out for a long time.
Okay, nice. Thank you.
No, I didn't. It's unusual. I guess he's because that one week he didn't have a show. That FSS is having another one.
Who is?
On the water.
What?
The full spectrum survival.
Oh.
He remembers me from back in the day. If I say something in the thing, he always says hello.
Oh, shit.
Ow.
Ah,
He
shit.
knows that a lot of those bullets and beans people don't dig me, I guess.
Yeah. Shit.
I wonder why.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. What was we talking about before we came on here?
Oh, your issue?
No. The pipeline thing. That's right.
Oh, yeah. That it seemed like a setup.
Yeah, yeah. Anytime the UN, people like meet with the UN, it's, yeah. And you got...
Oh, like that Ferguson thing.
No, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, the UN was... or the family talked to some UN dude on TV.
Yeah, it says militarized law enforcement agencies moved in with tanks and shit. You know, just getting people used to seeing that kind of stuff. You know, UN troops, getting people used to seeing that. So.
Well, I'd been sharing stuff, but like I said, it seemed kind of strange why PDs and sheriffs were there because they don't have jurisdiction on Indian lands.
Exactly.
Now, State Highway Patrol has jurisdiction on the highway the roads that go through there, but on tribal land,
on the actual land, they don't have no jurisdiction, right?
U.S. Marshals and FBI.
Right.
And none of those, and I've noticed that there are no FBI or U.S. Marshals there asking other agencies to help them. It's sheriffs and PD and National Guard. Well, National Guard has to do with the state. It has nothing to do with the Indian reservation.
Right.
There again, even National Guard in that state, their jurisdiction ends on that road, and that's it.
Right.
Anything off that pavement has nothing to do with them, technically.
See here. Oh, fuck. Where am I? I hate when it does it.
Oh, God, that's Inception.
Damn it. I've got to mute a minute.
Because, like I was talking to you earlier, you commit a crime out in public, it's local or state time. You do it on an Indian reservation, it's Fed time.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing I found strange about it is there's nothing unusual with feds conscripting local and state people to help them, but there are no feds there that I know of.
Right. Sorry about that. I had to.
And I find it interesting too. There are no. I don't know about their particular situation. I'm pretty sure they have their own department, but there are no tribal police out there.
That's what I found odd too. Yeah. Where are they?
Now, I'm not quite sure if tribal police can, I don't think they can enlist help from local agencies in this kind of situation. I'm not sure on that, but I don't see them anywhere or no mention of them.
That's weird. Why am I hearing an echo? Hello?
No, I'm still here. I'm not echoing because I'm on a headset.
Is your YouTube That's weird. Why?
Yeah,
Why am I hearing echo?
They're off.
That's really weird. What the fuck? I'm hearing feedback. I'm hearing back what we just fucking said.
Is your sound completely off on the YouTube?
I've got headphones on.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be able to hear what you're hearing.
That's weird.
Oh.
Yeah, UN troops. Yeah, fuck them. They might as well be security guards in my eyes. Well, I had told you on some of the accountability channels I watched, I've heard officers that have like England and Australian accents and stuff. It almost seems like they're recruiting from other countries to get people to be on the departments, because across the country they're them being able to fill jobs is they're not making the number. They're down every year.
Right. Are y'all hearing anything weird in the YouTube, guys? Because I'm hearing back everything we said 30 seconds after we said it.
You want to drop out and come back in?
Yeah, let me reload and come back. Maybe it's me.
That's all right. I'll just hijack your chat. And I'm turning it over to the UN because they paid me a big bag of magic beans.
Yeah. Okay. It's still doing it. It's still doing it.
You want me to drop out and come back?
Yeah, try that.
Okay.
It's weird. That's weird. What the hell? We're in the fucking Twilight Zone or something.
Play what?
Now?
Hello.
Yeah, I hear the feedback too. And I have
it's doing it.
It's from me.
No, it was doing it before you came in. So it's you two.
The feedback I hear is me.
I'm hearing me and you. Fuck it.
Okay, now I'm not hearing me.
I hear it. That's strange, man. That's weird. It's really weird.
Debbie thought that was funny.
Oh, well, yeah, here, I'm going to screen share this too I found today about water. Let's see, let me present. Okay. A hydraulic empire or hydraulic despotism or water monopoly empire is a social government structure which maintains power and control through exclusive controls over access to water. It arises through the need for flood control and irrigation, which requires central coordination and specialized bureaucracy. Often associated with these terms and concepts is the notion of a water dynasty. This body is a political structure which is commonly characterized by a system of hierarchy and control, often based on class or caste. Power both over resources, food, water, energy, and a means of enforcement such as the military are vital for the maintenance of control. And that's what we see going on, now,
When was that written? I've never heard of that before. But that's
Wikipedia. Yeah. You've never heard that?
No, I've never heard of that term before until you just told me. or told us. Yeah. I mean,
this was written in a book in 1957.
Okay.
So,
I mean, I was aware of this, but I didn't put like all the dots together. Like, oh shit, that's like,
me too. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
You know what, Becky? That makes sense. You know why? Remember, I was telling you I was uploading those cheesy movies from the late 70s and 80s. Those post-apocalyptic, cheesy type Road Warrior knockoff movies. A majority of those, it's not anything to do with a fuel shortage. It's always water that's a shortage. Is what the
Right. And like that aquifer in South America, it could supply the world for 200 years. And who owns it?
Even that latest movie, the one with Denzel Washington in it, Book of Eli, that had the same theme too. It wasn't fuel or anything else. It was water that was what they were fighting over.
Yeah. I put that link in the YouTube chat there, Chad.
Thank you.
You can get it.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
I just noticed little quirky things like that.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, something catching my mind. I was on a post today. I was like, thought, he who controls the water controls the world. You know, you hear that all the time, but you don't really think. Well, they say that about money. That's what Blunt said. You know, money and food and everything. And, you know, that's
right.
It's like if you ain't got water, you ain't got no food. Or energy.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really he who does control the water does control the world, because without that water, you can't have life. You can't have food. You know.
I mean, that kind of goes hand in hand, though, with that
exactly
way of thinking. You know, money, power, and all that. I mean, if you control the resources or the production or sustainability of them, then really that's more powerful than all the money in the world. I mean, that's what's generating money, right?
Well, like where you guys are at, you're not allowed, or they make ordinances against you collecting water.
You can't collect rainwater.
Yeah, they claim whatever falls out of the sky belongs to the government. But in the late 80s, the United States Navy, because I live in Southern California, it's drought-ridden, offered 2 huge desalination barges that they never used. One, I believe, to L.A., and I know they did one here in San Diego, and the municipalities turned them down.
Huh.
Wound up going overseas.
I wonder why they did that, huh?
I mean, these things probably cost tens of millions of dollars. And here in Southern California, we're always whining that there's not enough water. But they turn these things down, and they're still, even this last summer, we're talking about water restrictions, but all these high-dollar golf courses are green as hell still. And
yeah, what the fuck?
And I've been to or driven by a few of them, and I see their piping, and it's not that purple, which designates reclaimed water. So that means they're using municipal water to water these things.
Yeah.
Even the golf course up there that's part of the military at Miramar, they don't use reclaimed water. They're using municipality water. I mean, any military person could use it. It just happens at this time it was the Navy, and now it's the Marines have the base. But they still waste it, and this is across the country. They waste this water still on these golf courses, and it's usually in these high dollar areas, or where people with money go to play golf.
Yeah.
Golf isn't a cheap, is it?
Oh no, I used to work at a resort. Yeah, that shit's expensive. Yeah.
That's a sport that rich people play, for sure.
Yes, definitely.
I mean a lot of business deals and a lot of corporate decisions go down on the golf course. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, we had a lot that come in. You know, these corporate people and politicians coming in and playing golf and shit.
Now, myself, if I lived in one of those states where they didn't allow you to collect water, I would do it anyway. I'd just do it on the down low.
Mm.
Because you know me, I'm always trying to find a loophole in something.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not going to take what these people say as the gospel, and I'm under no illusion that they give a shit about any of us.
Right. Yeah, and this is my other channel, Chad, by the way. So, yeah. I have 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was wondering, like, because we had the other Hangouts going right before this video, and I was going to join it, but the Hangouts ended, and I was like, wait, are they still doing this?
Yeah, this is my other channel, so it's my backup, and then I have a backup for the backup, and a backup for the backup. But it's, you know, I'll only use that one if I really, really have to, because it's not in my real name, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There, it's back again. Maybe that's them with the audio. Maybe we'll do right this time. But that's kind of creepy because it's like hearing a voice in your head.
Oh, is the audio not catching up with the video right now, or?
It's like what we're talking, like 30 seconds after that, I can hear it in my headphones.
Oh, man.
What we said 30 seconds ago. Yeah, it's really annoying.
I can see a pause, too. I can see a pause between, like, the audio and video on my end.
Yeah. It's where they're switching from the Google to the YouTube to doing them now. So.
Oh, they were found not guilty, huh?
Yeah, I saw that a while ago, yeah. Oh, yeah, and...
It seems like the fuckery's getting more elaborate, huh?
It is. Oh, my God. Like they don't screw with us enough. Oh, that's right, yeah. And, you know, we got the election coming up next week, too. Yay. And Debbie, anything could happen election day.
You know, involving election day and this election cycle,
yeah,
it seems like I'm on the fence with whatever way, like, the establishment's taking it. Like, one week I'm thinking, oh, for sure, this is going to be Trump. All signs are pointing. Especially, like, when Brexit happened, I was like, oh, this is a clear sign, you know? And then I still always, I don't know. It's going to be interesting because it seems like everything that's going on, like our imperialistic nature, it seems more in line with Hillary Clinton and everything. You know, her dynasty, the Clinton-Bush dynasty. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. You know,
so that just makes me feel like they're not going to allow her to lose, much like Bush versus Gore in 2000.
It's like, you know, they're pushing how they've been, you know, pushing the feminine thing here the last few years too. You know, with the Bruce Jenner thing and all that crap. You know, the
right. And like, they're conditioning us. They're getting us ready for something. Yes.
And like the UN appointing Wonder Woman as an ambassador. You know, that Blunt posted the other day. I mean,
what is that? It's such a joke.
It's a comic book character.
I know.
Yeah, what the fuck? Like, there's so many other, like, real-life women throughout history and in present time they could have used for that.
Yeah,
you know?
I know.
But we're talking about the UN like this is, like, some legitimate organization that's running in the first place. You know what I mean? I know. It's like, does it even surprise you?
No, it doesn't. But, you know, people will fall for that crap, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
All day.
Why'd they have one of the people that played her character go to the UN or something?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Probably.
There was that argument. Remember that? What was it, yesterday or the day before? That lady that was arguing with us a little bit about it on, I think it was either yours or Delete the Elite.
Yeah, that was Blunt's.
I posted the thinking because she tried to use like Saudi Arabia as a talking point, like as a
yes.
Well, the girls in, think about the girls in countries like Saudi Arabia. They wouldn't even know who Wonder Woman is because of the amount of oppression and this and that these girls see, and it's like UN appointed Saudi Arabia again this year, or they're up for re-election to be head of the Human Rights Council.
I know.
Like,
That's a joke.
That's yeah, isn't it? Right. It's just like you put all your faith into the system, the UN, like they're doing something good for humanity and society, but you choose to negate the fact that they would take the one country that pretty much violates all social norms in the 21st century and make them the head of the UN Council. It just. I hate it. It's just cherry picking what they decide that they want to use as evidence or arguments.
Yeah.
I hate
like
it.
This article I found, I know it's from Fox News, but Blood and War, how a UN agency cooperates with Assad. You know, there again, they helping them kill their people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like these two idiots we got choose from now. The Beans and Bullets community, they're all for Trump, and he's for NDAA just like she is.
Yeah.
And they're saying,
I mean, we're essentially voting for another, in my opinion, GOP, politician. She's just because she says she's a Democrat doesn't mean anything, because in my opinion, she's more neoconservative than Trump.
Right.
And if anything, she's proven it even more because she's been in that position of diplomacy and being a professional politician and whatnot. And I mean, when you're hanging out with people like Henry Kissinger and you're taking foreign what's the word I'm looking for? Policy advice from. You're seeking that through people like warmongers, like Henry Kissinger. Like,
well, that's
that should just be a clear sign in and of itself.
They all take advice from that guy.
Yeah.
And we already know what a piece of shit he is.
Oh, yeah.
And
he's worse than Cheney.
The president of China, Xi Jinping, now because China's most powerful, enjoys status like Mao Zedong.
Really?
Yeah.
I was telling Becky earlier that at one time in China, comparing yourself to Mao would get your ass in a lot of hot water because he was like he was like the man.
Yeah.
And like you said, this guy's comparing himself to him.
I mean, I haven't been looking into it or researching much into China, which I probably should be looking into all of these global events. They're a pretty big player in this stage, but just my initial reaction from hearing that information, just that bit of information, my mind immediately thinks of all the other areas that we've kind of been getting rid of, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We're branching into this like new era of civilization of like, like this whole PC culture we're living in.
Mm-hmm.
20 years ago, you couldn't say anything that would be considered rape culture today in today's, world without, I mean, you could say stuff like that and get away with it back then. It's just, I feel like we're we're shifting the paradigms.
Yes.
We're obviously not going in the right direction, but in some cases, I think we are. I don't know.
Yeah.
On that. But that kind of all, I guess, that tangent of thought all kind of, I guess, came to mind when you're talking about being able to say something like that, and it's such an oppressive, like China, that's a kind of a big deal. Even though, you know, like comparing yourself to someone in America, you know, someone that is yield like some kind of poor response from the rest of your peers, you can still do that, at least in America.
Yeah.
Being able to do that in China, that's kind of a big deal now. It's like almost another step towards the Western influence, Western culture, you know. But it's more of like a freedom of speech kind of thing too. So it's like, is it really that bad? I don't know. More into it.
Well, the economic freedoms is so they won't have another Tiananmen Square thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Their attitude nowadays is you can make all the money you want, just make sure you think like we tell you.
Yep.
And that's the way it's going in every other place.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's kind of the reason why I post some of these old films. I know for a lot of people they're kind of corny, but the messages you would get then are 180 out from today.
Right.
Or a lot of people they use a talking point on YouTube now about, oh, you know, this whole left-right paradigm. Well, you can go back to World War II, and the Allies were not only supporting Mao Zedong, but Chiang Kai-shek, which they're against left-right. You know, they weren't going to lose because they're supporting both sides.
Right. It's like these weapons manufacturers, they supply both sides too.
Oh yeah, that's the name of the game.
Yep.
That's what keeps it all going around, right?
Well, see, because he used to be from Southern California too. Southern California is a big defense industry place. Whether it be the major cities here.
Oh yeah.
I could rattle off 12 places right now. Or still throw my house.
My dad used to work for Lockheed Martin.
Oh wow.
That's a big defense contractor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
they were the top dogs for a while before Raytheon came in over.
Yes.
I was telling Becky back in the 80s, my father used to work for Bechtel at San Onofre.
Yep.
I guess it would make sense, though. I mean, it's right there on the West Coast.
Well, that's
the whole port of the United States, pretty much.
That was the thing, the aerospace jobs and the shipbuilding jobs and the nuclear plant jobs and all the sub things that went on. That, you know, people made good wages. They could buy a house and stuff, and 9 times out of 10, you know, the wife could stay home with the kids or something.
Right.
And you know, now you know, you're losing all our industries and the auto industry, and there's really nothing other than really defense.
If you're not quite legal. Where I came from, it was all farmland. I mean, I lived in a really small town, and right when I was born, right when we moved into this city, the population was really small. It was still considered rural, and we primarily where our market was in agriculture. I don't know where I'm going with this, but that's also another major factor, especially in California, because aren't they supplying something like 40% of all the agriculture in the United States or something like that? Just California alone?
I guess a lot of our stuff goes overseas, and we get a lot of stuff from overseas.
Yeah. What doesn't make sense to me is we send stuff overseas just to get it sent back.
Well, it's like, why can't you get a tomato from here? Why do you got to get it from China? Why do you got to send our stuff to Europe or wherever the hell?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, we're capable of doing everything that we import, right? For the most part. I mean, we're supposed to be the number one country, superpower in the world. And you're telling me we couldn't supply ourselves with basic necessities and resources that we need and use as a society?
Well, it used to be too that the military, they mandated all things that they use had to be manufactured here. Well, more and more they're starting to get things because it's cheaper that are manufactured overseas.
Right.
And the idea was, well, in troubled times, they wouldn't have to depend on anybody. But it's the same with the commercial airline industry. It's cheaper for them to send a plane over there to get maintenance and then come back for some reason than it is to have somebody here work on it.
That doesn't make sense to me.
I know, it doesn't.
Like, I want to see the facts. I want to see the stats on that. Like, really? I feel like that's something made up. How could it... the cost of fuel and the overhead, because you got to pay someone to ship all that shit back and forth, or a company, right? Plus the cost of labor to do whatever it is that we're sending that shit over to get processed or manufactured or whatever just to get sent back here. This doesn't make sense. How is it still cheaper?
Well, who knows what they
Why
pay
is it still cheaper if that's the case?
Who knows what they pay that technician over there? He's
Nothing.
probably not getting any kind of benefits or anything. Versus, I'm just putting up a magic number because I don't say a guy who used to do it that worked here probably made $30-40 an hour and had benefits,
right. Mm-hmm.
A retirement.
I mean, regardless, companies still paying. They got to pay out to someone to do the labor. So I guess ultimately is the difference between whatever the cost is to do it at home versus the total cost of having it done away from home and then being shipped back at home. Is that difference in cost, does that outweigh the pros, or I guess the cons of doing it at home and eating that, whatever that cost difference is?
Well, this is just a theory. The only thing I can figure out is maybe it's because we have so much debt to foreign entities.
Leverage.
Yeah, it's a leverage thing.
Yeah, we are in debt.
That
does make sense.
A couple of years ago, across the U.S., a lot of municipalities were going through and de-junking people's yards and like the cash for clunkers and stuff. A lot.
Yes.
I'm willing to bet. I'm pretty sure that a lot of that scrap metal wound up over there in China. Because we owed them.
To be recycled down. Yeah.
Yep. I know. I done. I did that too. We did the scrap, cleaning up the woods and stuff, because they up the price on everything, and then when everything's cleaned up, they put the price down too. So,
of course. I guess they get to control the prices, right? So.
Yep.
Well, I was telling Becky and Debbie too, like a lot of the Chinese, say like a drill press, one made in China. The piece of crap that they send over here is not the same quality as what they keep for themselves.
Right.
Because somebody who's I collect a lot of militaria, and they're a lot of these beans and bullets guys here kind of poo-poo their communist bloc made stuff, but it's just as good a quality, if not better, than the stuff we make. The stuff that they keep for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
You know, going back on that whole cost-benefit analysis we kind of brushed up on.
Hello?
I've also heard about businesses just buying land and building like complexes of just livable places that have running water, sewage, electricity, gas, which would give you a better quality of life in the home, right? But instead of paying them a wage, they allow them to live there or pay them very, very, very little. I hear this is a common thing out in Mexico. They do that.
Yeah, it's like the old sharecropper days, where if you were a miner or something, that old Tennessee Ernie Ford song, "You owe your soul to the company store."
Yes, I was listening. Keela posted that the other day, and I'm like, yeah, exactly.
It just seems like this economic gap is everywhere.
Yes. I put the link in YouTube so if anybody wants to join. I was going to get some. What the heck? Who's he talking? I totally had a brain freeze. Shit. What were you just talking about?
The
economic gap.
Damn, I can't even remember what it was. Damn it.
Oh, look, Firecat's here. She must have got released in the FEMA train.
I cooked supper. Now I'm free.
At least for the next 10 minutes. 5 miles or 5 minutes, whichever comes first.
But now I have a kitten and a dog and my normal cat. They're going to be making a lot of noise, so I might have to stay on mute.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's a stray kitten that walked up.
No, if you make noise, you would be banned.
Yes. Well, the kitten's been crying so much, it's kind of has a broken meow right now.
Oh.
Well, see, I can do that, Firecat, because somebody was silly and gave me some sort of power, and you know how we Germans are.
Hey, I'm half German.
Yeah.
You better conform.
Stop it, Mr. But the kitten's tougher than Mr. Brown, so that's all that matters.
Damn it, I totally forgot.
But yeah, I was enjoying the conversation.
I got a little distracted there. I was looking at something on my Google there. So. Anyway. Okay. Hey, cat. Phantom Fuzz, Debbie. And Firecat.
Just need a hope the sound doesn't go away.
See, I'm hearing this weird echo, so maybe that's somehow that's how they're doing the audio now. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I was hearing an echo too.
There it is again. Freaked me out there for a minute. I'm like, we both left and come back, and it was still there. So. And I've got a lot of noise going on here in the background, so. I can't remember. What I was doing.
But going back to this economic gap thing, I could see a time where even these what we consider third world countries, their manufacturing go automated. So where are those folks going to get any money or be able to put food on the table? Oh, that's right. They want population control. But yeah, if they want to do that, why don't they be the first to volunteer?
Fuck off.
Man, I hate those, talking about going automated, I hate those self-checkouts. They're starting to put in all the stores.
Oh, no, damn.
And trying to play it off like it's more convenient on the consumer.
Right.
When all they've done is turn the cash register around, and now I'm doing the work for free.
Yep.
Yeah, bang.
And I have to stand and wait in line behind some guy who's not a trained professional, and not everyone knows how to operate these things, and is not quite up to date with technology or just basic common sense. You got to rely on everybody else being efficient. I find sometimes I'm waiting in line longer because people are having issues with, I rang something up twice, or it's not accepting my card, or how does this thing take cash, or you got to wait for somebody who's most likely already helping somebody else who's having issues. I just, every time that I see those, I protest by going to a register. I'll wait in line. I'll even wait in a long line if that means I get to interact with a human being. It's like I feel like I'm saving their job by doing that, even though I'm not.
That's what I was going to say. You always got that person at Walmart or wherever the hell directing you to these things. Oh, use this. And it's like they look at you like you're on crack, because I'll say, no thanks, I'll go to a live person because I want to make sure they keep their job.
Right.
Yeah.
And then those weird looks are like, why are you looking at me weird? I'm being polite. I'm being cordial. I'm being aware. My intentions are good, But ostracize me from society because I'm the weirdo for not adapting.
Yeah, it's like if you don't if you refuse whatever the standard is, whether it be that or a flu shot or something, you're looked at like you're weird. There's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Yep.
People just think that their conditioning is fact because that's all they know.
Yep.
Create your own world, people.
Yep. And when I get to that point of realization, to when I quit, there's just like no point. There's no point. There's no point in continuing because nothing's going to change.
Yeah, I quit, and it just keeps on going.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
fucking hurt. Damn.
Need to turn it back around where the boat rocker is the norm.
Yeah, right?
The person who doesn't play along to get along.
Well, they've done a good job at making us look like complete idiots just by not associating with the status quo. Tribal mentality.
Yeah.
They don't need to do that. I can do that by myself.
Yeah.
Well, it seems a trend of the conditioning too is that they're so blatant about their corruption and it's in your face, and their attitude is like, well, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, I see that a lot too. It's almost like it's a message they're sending to people who are completely aware that they are completely capable of getting away with what they're doing, to the point where we're gonna blatantly shove it in your face and everybody's face, and the majority isn't going to see what you see. But to those who do see, it's like a slap in the face. They're laughing at us.
Well, we are part of the unwashed masses in their eyes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mouth breathers.
Well, I mean, it's the predictive programming. If you go back like that movie 2012, who wound up on those ships? A group of the most useless fucking people on this planet that don't produce anything. I wouldn't imagine they'd last a year if that was reality.
Right.
Because they're so used to having somebody else do shit for them.
We should point that out to them.
Let's see the queen go shag her ass out on a roof on a summer day, slamming down shingles. That ain't gonna happen.
Well, that's when they have to depend on this precious AI that we keep advancing into.
That we create
to
for them.
Carry on such tasks for them.
Well, nowadays too, they look at people in trades as unskilled labor, and that's not true. I mean, it takes a lot of skill to be a plumber or a machinist or whatever.
Yeah, it does. It takes a lot of skill. Could you do that? You know, if your shower all of a sudden sprung a leak underneath the tub or whatever, that's all sealed in and everything, would you know what to do, how to fix that?
Yeah.
You wouldn't know what to do. You just not use it anymore.
No, you get a sledgehammer, smash it out.
Yeah. Right. But most people don't even have the common sense to do that, you know.
But yeah, but that's what I do for a living. Remodeling houses and building them.
Nice.
Yeah, several years ago, I rented a house with some friends, and the wax ring for the toilet was leaking, and they made a big old production that they needed to call somebody. And I says, "No, I'll do it." I says, "Pay me for the or take the part off the rent and exit a magical number off a rent, and I'll do it."
Yeah, that's simple. A $5 part or less. But yeah, there's a lot of money into building houses.
Oh yeah, there is.
They keep permits. You have to have licenses. And you can't do it all yourself. I mean,
you got a subcontract.
where I live,
Yeah.
I can, but I'm one of the few counties. I mean, just one county over, you got to pull permits and stuff. And I couldn't do what I do over there.
Is that why you moved to the county you live in right now? Research
Well,
that a little bit?
No, I just lucked out because this is where
nice.
family land was.
Another example is a few hours ago I went down to the little convenience store to get a lemonade, and the lady in front of me was complaining about this mechanic shop taking her for a ride on their transmission. And that's the norm nowadays. Nobody bothers to get some basic knowledge. So when the mechanic's giving them a shuck and jive, they can go, wait a minute, that doesn't sounds like a bunch of BS.
Yeah. I mean, when
they
I
used
was
to teach that in schools, but they don't do that anymore.
And probably, too, because she's a female, she's a real big target.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, you should definitely get auto knowledge just to protect yourself.
Yep.
And it's not that difficult.
It's really not.
I mean, once you get the gist of it.
If you can understand the complexities, that is, what the fuck is going on in on this planet, and you can understand the basic workings of how a vehicle works.
Yeah,
combustion motor, you know,
smaller. I mean, sure, they got more complicated with the, computers and wires, but if you just learn
the foundations, the fundamentals are still there.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Just being able to diagnose something so you kind of have an idea what's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, what's the term I'm looking for?
And the internet really helps you.
Oh, yeah, Google.
Any weird thing that your car's doing, you punch it in and bam, you got the answer.
You've got 16 forums that have other people that have the exact same problem as you, talking with other people who've helped navigate what the problem was and diagnose it.
Like an oxygen sensor, I mean, just something you wouldn't even think of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a cheap little easy fix.
Yep. Well, nowadays, the computer will tell you exactly what's wrong. You just plug it into a scanner, it gives you a code, and you go to Google, type in P0161 or whatever. Okay, the year, make, and model of your car next to it, and there you go. Figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, so you really should try to do it yourself first.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it seems, too, nowadays, people have never heard of something called a book.
Reading takes too long, okay? I need my information instantly. Otherwise, I'm not satisfied. Yeah.
But yeah, I always had an auto manual before the computer. And then you had to figure it out yourself.
Yeah, see, what you guys had to live through.
Yeah.
You guys, like my parents' generation was like the last generation really that got to experience having to learn certain necessities through living in just being a basic human being, They don't teach anymore. If anything, they're removing them almost systematically, it seems like. Or maybe there's a correlation as technology increases, or as we automate and digitize more. It seems that our basic understanding and intelligence seems to drop at the same rate.
A lot of these younger people can't even point out where the hell they are on a map.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's sad.
And these are the same people casting votes.
Mm-hmm.
And you wonder why democracy doesn't work.
Oh man, because they're playing Pokemon on their things.
Jeez, yeah.
But they don't want us to create and make things. I mean, you do it at your work, but yeah, that is a lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah. Creativity individualism, being unique, you know, that's all being taken out of the indoctrination process. They want you to conform.
It's called collectivism.
Exactly. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, just look at the same screen on the computer and don't create your own picture.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's like I remember the kids had a band concert. It was 2 years ago or something. And they, you know, a lot of them, they depend on fundraisers because they don't get a lot of funding for that type of stuff at the public schools. Because, like you said, they don't want them to be creative.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So they don't
I remember back when you were telling me that one time they went, it was a really hot day, and nobody could possibly figure out that maybe somebody should have bought a big box of water or something.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, he quit. You know, that was, yeah. It's like
no, they don't take
boot
care.
camp or something, you know.
Yeah, they've had kids drop from thirst.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked at so many places where people who made 10 times more than I did had no clue what I did or what the hell was going on, but they were in charge.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had to learn to start keeping them out of the loop. And then people want to depend their whole existence on these fucking clowns that probably can't even tie their own shoe.
Oh man, yeah, the heroes of the 21st century Western culture, at least.
Are there any heroes?
Well, I'm not talking about realistic, like people you and I would consider heroes, but as far as the status quo, the mainstream goes, people that people look up to, the Kardashians, the Kanye Wests, you know, all the entertainment, just entertainment. That's all it is. People just want to be entertained.
Well, a lot of these Beans and Bullets channels, they're pro-Trump, and I actually heard one the other day admit that, yeah, they know each other for a very long time, but somehow they still think that he's a patriot, and he's going to do what he wants to do. It's like, yeah, okay. I was telling Becky, yeah, I should get a compilation of these guys ranting and raving about how he walks on water so I can make a I told you so video later.
Well, he doesn't have to pay taxes for 18 years because he's such a good businessman.
I can't figure out why, though, so many of these people, even in positions of responsibility, feel that they need somebody to run their life for them or give direction. When we're all perfectly capable of screwing up our own lives on our own. We don't need their help.
Oh, yes.
And you know, one of their biggest things they hit, well, who's going to fix the roads? And it's like, well, there's a lot of rural communities that they take turns grading roads and whatnot. They don't bitch at the local municipality to do it. They do it themselves.
Well, yeah, they sort of had a scandal on our roads. The material that was being used didn't pass the elastic test or whatever. And one of the guys posted it on Facebook. And then on the other people up there got mad and then made this big new rule that you couldn't post anything to do with the county on Facebook. And, you know, they were covering up. I just thought it was weird that they still can cover up the fact that they, you know, were skimping the, you know, not making the roads good. And then literally, I only broke one because I'm real careful now. But it was a brand new $80 tire that the belt popped because of the potholes. So, I mean, there's no roads where I live. But the city is about to just completely engulf us in cement. I mean, that's why I'm leaving. But it's just changed in a blink of an eye. It goes from no services to extreme. I mean, at least around here. But then taxes and regulations shoot up.
All right. This infrastructure all over the place is falling apart, but the money you got to pay every year isn't going down.
Yeah.
It's going up.
I know here, there's a lot of dirt roads, and they passed some law. God, it's been 10 years ago where all the dirt roads had to be paved by a certain year.
Oh, that's weird, because that's what they're doing here. Is our dirt road is being paved, but then it fell apart because they just put a thin layer of asphalt, and then it immediately broke up, just to make it look like a road.
But the state didn't do it here. They hired a contractor to come in and do it. And
then they probably used the material that wasn't as good. Well, at least
they do a shoddy job, and then the municipality wants to come after them, and they go out of business, and then there's nobody to go after.
Yeah.
That money's gone.
But to me, I mean, that pop tire is more than a year's worth of tax, on one of these lots that I own. So, I mean, it is a big deal, $80 out of your pocket is more than your property taxes. And that's just because they're not doing their job.
That's why you should be able to opt out of these services if you're not getting the kind of service you want.
Mm-hmm. But in another neighborhood, they don't maintain the roads at all. Back in the good old days, a person could just get a cow field, divide up the land, put in a dirt road, and then call it subdivision. But now if you want to do that, you have to get county road grade roads, which cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So now you can't really do it. But I have one of the old grandfathered subdivisions where nobody takes care of the road, but we do it ourselves, and it's much better. All the neighbors chip in, and we bought the material, we graded ourselves, and it's a lot better shape than the county.
That's what we used to do here when it was dirt. They'd take turns scraping the road and stuff.
Yeah, with tractors.
And if it needed gravel, everybody had to go in on it. But it got to where people didn't want to go in on it anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I don't think it's probably because they're getting sucked dry other places.
Yeah.
If it ain't taxes, it's some kind of fee. If it ain't fees, it's road pirates, or this, that, and the other.
Well, they all sit around a table and they divide us up like a pie. They're like, okay, this much for their electricity, this much for their water, this much for their food, You don't have much left over. Nothing left over.
I was telling Becky that's what they do here in Southern California with the water and electricity. Oh, we're having all these shortages. You got to conserve. And then you conserve. And what do? They turn around and...
Rate hike.
Rate hike.
Because you've been conserving too good. But, I'm just going to generate my electricity. I have a well, so I get free water.
Yeah.
And I have a creek, so I'm going to dam it up and put in a generator.
Cool.
So.
Well, I already showed you the ones you should buy.
Yeah. Well, I will.
It's always better to have more than you need.
And to be able to zap a star now and again from your house.
Well, that's why I do what I do, because I always find every time I short myself, I got some other, I need some more. It's like, oh, crap, now I got to get more. It's like, well, if I already had it, then I wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't have been a big deal.
But no, for the price, it probably literally is cheaper to get one of those industrial. It was like 10 grand, but if 10 people went in it, I bet you anything the fuel would be less than everybody having separate electric bills. And then you just, you know, you can run off other stuff.
You'd be using that money for the cost of the generator and the maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who knows, you might have a little extra. Then you go, okay, well, I'm going to buy 2. So if this other one has a major breakdown, I still have one.
Well, the other one's being fixed. Yeah.
Right.
And no, I guarantee it'd be cheaper.
And then you don't have to depend on their bullshit anymore.
Yeah, because even during one of our hurricanes, and I was 2 weeks on a generator, and buying the gas and keeping it was literally cheaper than just, you know. I mean, I guess I didn't have everything running, but then, yeah, you just start to conserve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you might run into that time though when since you've completely cut yourself off, like other places, they'll consider your house unlivable and condemn it just because you're not hooked up to their system.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't do it here, but yeah, they do that.
Well, I'm just saying in the future they could.
Oh yeah.
That's another thing I was telling Becky about these beans and bullets guys. They live in these states where, you know, they can have just about anything they want, and they're like, oh, well, fuck all these other states that got gun control. Hey, yeah, it's going to come to your town eventually.
Yeah, it can change in a blink of an eye. It just takes a piece of paper to do it.
Yeah, because we know we're going to just keep getting or we've always had assholes that, oh, I'll just write something in. Fuck it, I don't have to ask anybody.
Well, they never add freedoms. They never take them away. They only add them.
Well,
you know, when have they ever unwrote a law?
But see, a lot of these things are things they never ask anybody. A lot of these things, okay, you know, if it was put to a vote, you know, it would suck here, but you'd kind of have to live with it because, you know, that's the way the ball bounced. But they don't. They just start writing their own shit in there.
No, they don't let the general population vote on it. They just write it up and then amongst themselves do it.
I mean, myself, I said I wasn't going to vote, but there's a few propositions here that are of concern, and I'm going to at least fill out that to at least say, yeah, I didn't want to go for that direction, and you know.
Yeah, I always vote local because I actually know the people, you know, who's running.
Well, I mean, I'm not so much the people running, because they're just as much part of the Ponzi scheme as the people at the top. It's just when they're always begging for money, these bond issues and whatnot. I always say no.
Yeah.
I don't care how touchy-feely, feel-good they make it sound. No, you can't have any more money.
What do you guys think about this solar minimum and how it's going to affect our crop cycles and its relation to food prices, just cost of pretty much how it's going to affect all the food?
No, we have been talking about that.
I'm probably going to be eating lizards.
I'm going to start learning how to canning stuff in jars, you know.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yes,
move further south, way south.
I know Debbie knows a lot about that. She's in the chat there.
Yeah.
Well, like in your situation, you have the land. You should be planting a lot more trees that you can get something from, oranges or whatever.
Yeah. Now, I have planted a bunch of fruit trees. And
because I just feel like if it's going to be what it's being projected to be, from what at least from what I've been seeing, it could have a pretty detrimental effect on a lot of the places that supply a lot of the agriculture, things that we need to eat to survive.
That's why the elite are buying up a lot of land south of the equator there, too,
Right. Places that are still going to be sustainable to grow crops and whatnot.
Well, South America, they might be able to grow and ship them up here, but prices will shoot up.
Yeah, everything's going to go. The price of everything's going to rise. I feel like.
Yeah.
And not only, it's not going to just affect the agriculture, because what do you feed the animals too? It's going to affect every aspect of food consumption, cost-wise.
Black markets will explode.
Black market for some broccoli.
Yeah.
Get some fresh broccoli. Non-government.
Start having underground greenhouses.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, if you set up the right lighting and plumbing, I'm sure you could set up some pretty decent underground greenhouses and whatnot. You just set up the lighting, because if you go 10 feet into Earth, no matter where you're at, for the most part, it's room temperature. It's not going to be, other than places that are like permafrost and whatnot. But
that's why a lot of agencies have those heat sensors on helicopters, because they find some grows like that.
Huh.
Yeah.
You'll see they construct these buildings or cargo containers underground, and they can see the heat from the ground.
That's interesting. I guess that works.
Who knows? They might come after people doing that, just growing regular food.
Right.
Or we're going to come and confiscate that.
Cargo containers are perfect for that. And I was actually talking to my friends about this. Like, what if you just bought land and bought, 10 shipping containers and stacked them, and just cut them all out, hollowed them all out, and just made the floor plan of whatever house you want, and keep the floors, however many floors you want to build, and then all you have to do is just cut out windows, doors, set up insulation, your plumbing, your heat, electricity, and how cheap would that be? Especially because we're tradesmen. We do this for a living, so it's just like we're putting our heads together. Like, dude, we could build whatever we want in our backyard. We just not even necessarily underground. If you just had a big backyard and you bought a bunch of shipping containers and just stuck it on the ground, would that be an issue?
Well,
I guess you just have to pull permits for all of the.
Well, see, that's the problem. You pull permits for that, and they're going to know you have it. That's the whole purpose of planning departments, is because they want to know what the hell you're doing in your yard and in your house.
Right.
I personally could do it where I live. I could do whatever the hell I want.
So if you were to do that, you'd have to do it in such a way where not too many people know about it.
Well, they would see it.
Then if you were concerned about that, you just put it underground.
I have a high water table.
Yeah.
Well, I told you how you could, if you did that, Firecat.
I have the 2 school buses that we're going to bury.
So they wouldn't rust out. How you would make the drainage for it?
Yeah, with the rocks and the pipe. No, we are going to do that.
Here's something interesting. I just seen. I posted this article earlier about, we were talking about the pipeline thing. The Ogallala Aquifer. Billionaire T-Bone Pickens owned more water rights than any other individuals in America, with rights over enough of the Ogallala Aquifer to drain approximately 200,000 acre-feet or 65 billion gallons of water a year. This article's from 2012.
Is he involved with
let's see how that
for water rights? What is?
This is for, he owns a lot of the water rights to that aquifer. So yeah, that's something people's overlooking there too. See.
But then they won't let that Gary Harrington to collect rainwater on his 170 acres.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't build a tank for his cows.
Yeah, that's for collecting rainwater.
Yeah, that's just wrong, because that's just natural right citizen to be able to collect water on your land. I mean, that's just going against nature.
And Banks here has bought up a lot of the water rights. See, but the Alliance there, I found they're behind some of these mega cities, making some of these mega cities too. Remember?
I mean, I said a long time ago, the most important thing you could leave your kid is a well.
Do you own the water rights and mineral rights to your land?
Yes. And I have a creek running through it.
Oh, that's perfect.
Well,
spring-fed creek.
Although with them getting rid of Posse Comitatus, that was part of the thing. That all those things he was signing in, they could seize it anyway.
Oh yeah, I'm sure of course they could. They can seize everything. Yeah. Eminent domain. We're always dodging highways.
Yeah, because that was a big problem during the Civil War. Soldiers from either side that came in would steal all their resources, and then so they couldn't complain about compensation. They usually wound up killing them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, after the Civil War down in Texas, that didn't happen. But other places it did. But yeah, I mean, nobody owns land. You're paying property taxes. If you stop, they take it.
Yep, they do.
So.
Well, I actually, realistically, nobody owns anything anywhere. You're just a temporary caretaker.
Yeah.
Before your permanent dirt nap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying that earlier today. Can't take it with you.
Well, no, a lot of places that were taken over by Europeans and whatnot, the tribal peoples, say in Australia or American Indian here in Canada and United States or other places, they had no concept of ownership of land.
Yeah.
You were just borrowing it temporarily.
Yeah, they didn't fence it off. Nope.
That was a big problem in Ireland because they have to divide up land between kids, and they'd build those stone walls, and then the plots were getting smaller and smaller.
Oh yeah, that's even happening out here. Well, used to they had, the villages, and everybody had their own little plot of land, but there was also the commons, which, everybody's cows or sheep would graze upon, and the government's job was pretty much to regulate the commons. But, the government regulates everything, but
Even how many times a day you use the toilet.
I'm sure they do. They charge you for sewage if you live in a city. Just as much water as you pay, you have to pay for that water to go out. They charge you. That's silly. Out here, they can't do that because we have septic systems. But then try getting a permit for one of those in some states. Like, I found this huge, wonderful brick house right on a lake. And it was so cheap because it needed a $30,000 septic system. I didn't even think you could do 30,000, but it was.
That's what I was going to say.
I mean, hello. For $1,200, you could get a compost toilet. But that's how. Well, they really worried about clean water up there.
Well, that's ridiculous. You got a concrete septic tank, and then you dig trenches for leach field. How complicated is that? Certainly not $30,000 worth of complication.
No.
Yeah. And then, I mean, aerobic system, they maintain. I mean, that's something if you don't have quite enough land. But yeah, that's not even 30,000. That was up there in Missouri on that Table Rock Lake. But yeah, you can literally drink the water out of the lake. So that's, they really watch everybody. I mean, everybody on the lake, they really watch the development to keep it clean.
Yeah.
But they don't do that down here. We were talking about water that catches on fire.
That was one
so polluted.
That was one of the smaller Great Lakes in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that the ship channel's caught on fire before.
Wasn't there a river in Australia that done the same thing here a while back? The river caught on fire.
Oh, I don't know.
I remember seeing the video of it a few months ago.
Yeah, nothing surprises me anymore.
Yeah, I know.
They dumped all that stuff in Colorado River and turned it yellow.
I know. Yeah, they was cleaning out that mine. That was chemicals from them cleaning the mine.
And they did it on purpose.
Yeah, and then they done it again.
Twice, I know.
They done it twice.
Because they didn't want to pay to get rid of the stuff, so they just dump it out on Mother Nature.
Yep.
They would have been better off leaving it where it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That right there tells you that was intentional.
Because all the fish, I mean, that's a lot of food destroyed. And then
the concept of government is unnatural as it is. Usually normal people self-regulate or regulate themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If somebody's being a
we point out what to do wrong and nothing happens. I mean, But they can point out what we're doing wrong.
Yeah.
You could tear the tag off your mattress. I've never done that.
Well, they're taking your ability away from you to do anything. I mean, there used to be a time, okay, somebody wanted to be a local tyrant, or somebody got some balls, a group of people could go down there and handle it.
Right.
Yeah.
And now they don't let you do that anymore. People want monopoly on use of force.
At workplaces, it seems like the rules don't even apply, and it's its own personal little hell.
The rules don't apply to them. You know that?
Yeah. They're all of a sudden you're a slave.
Shit.
Well,
Okay.
usually they'll cover for the one or two snitches in your workplace.
Well, yeah, it's like that WikiLeaks thing. If wouldn't you think that they would have been arresting people by now over that stuff?
Yeah.
That was meant to be put out, that stuff. So.
I'll be right back. I have to chase down that dog and the cat.
Yeah, I'm sure if that guy was genuine and they were harboring him in that embassy, I'm sure some sort of accident would have happened. if he was a genuine whistleblower.
Right.
Because perfect example, organized crime. They're famous to doing whatever it takes to get whatever guy's gonna rat on them.
Yep.
So that should send up red flags right there.
Yep.
But it's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
We'll all see how the movie turns out.
Hey, it is 1984 after all.
Indeed.
Oh yeah. Anyway, I think this is long enough. So I think it's been about an hour and a half. So, I guess a good place to end. Anybody y'all in the chat want to join afterwards? I'll throw the link back in there if he wants to join. Oh shit, no. No, I'm already in here. I don't want to join it. Okay, there we go. Okie dokie. There we go. Okay. And I will be having the show tomorrow. It'll be 5 p.m. Eastern. Media control. So it'll be on my other channel or this one. I'm not sure yet. So, Rebecca, not Becky. Thanks for joining, everybody. See you later.
See you guys.
Bye.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, don't drink
Peace.
the Kool-Aid.
I gotta find my button.
Unless you pay for it through PayPal.
Oh my God. Or Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Shit. Goodbye, everybody. Good night. Wherever you are, good day, morning, whatever.